All right, Dave, you ready to go?
All set.
Excellent. Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Ted Harris. I'm with the Pennsylvania Petroleum Association. We'd like to welcome you to our monthly webinar series, which normally takes place the first Tuesday of each month at 9 a.m. We are going to take December off, but we will have our 2020 webinar schedule ready to go starting in January for next year. Before we get started today, I would like to encourage you to ask questions via the question feature and go to webinar. You're going to be on mute for the entire webinar, but you can type in questions through the question feature and go to webinar. And then at the end of Dave's presentation, we will do a Q&A. If for some reason we don't get to your question, or if you need to connect offline, we will certainly do that after the fact. At this point, I'd like to introduce our presenter, which is Dave Heiser. Dave is the Regional Sales and Marketing Coordinator for Prime Media. And Dave's going to be covering bad press and dangerous legislation, what you need to know to change the conversation. Dave, I'll pass it off to you.
Thank you, Ted. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us this morning. Hope everyone's having a good day so far. So let's go ahead and jump right in. A lot of information to share with you, and as Ted said, we'll take questions at the end. Bad press and dangerous legislation. So the things that we're going to look at today is, of course, we know we've all had bad press. Bad press has been part of our lives for a long time. Of course, in recent years, we've seen a lot more of it, especially lately. People talking about, a lot of misconceptions about our industry and our products, et cetera. And of course, a lot of legislation that's being passed throughout the country, and some here in Pennsylvania that we'll be taking a look at that's being proposed that challenges our industry. So we'll take a look at that. There's industry legislations and challenges here in PA. Basically, what we're going to focus on is the climate change marketing solution. So it's going to be all about owning being green and how to tell your green story and put yourself forward as that green choice for your customers, out there in the message, and making sure that it's a consistent message throughout your business and, of course, for the industry as well. So climate change legislation and challenges in Pennsylvania. As I said, I'm sure you're all aware that, sorry about that, went too far too quickly. I'm sure you're all aware, again, our industry is facing some extreme challenges to its future and survival, through the bad press that we've seen through this legislation. And again, it's nothing we haven't seen before, and we've seen a lot of challenges over the past 50 years. Now, some of those challenges have had more teeth, and some were more bark than bite. But the thing you have to understand is, and make no mistake about this at this time, that the situation right now is not a situation of Chicken Little or the boy who cried wolf scenarios, nor is it a minor bump. These are serious challenges that we're facing, and ones that have to be met head on. And we have to take a look at these and, again, talk about how do we overcome these, how do we move forward as an industry, and how we move forward as individual companies. So when we look at the different challenges here in Pennsylvania, they've been popping up for a few years. We're not going to go way back. We're going to go back a little bit. If we take a look, back in 2018, there was a Pennsylvania Climate Action Plan. This was presented through executive order calling for statewide greenhouse gas reductions of 26% by 2025 and 80% reductions by 2050. It went on to say that they wanted to establish a carbon cap and trade program, create a portfolio of clean utility scale energy generation, reduce impacts of fossil fuel energy production and distribution, and give the ability of the public to choose electric power through the PA power switch that comes from clean renewable energies. So a lot of these things may not be directly impacting heating oil, but they certainly have an effect as to how we're viewed and people being told that we're bad. Again, it goes along with the bad press. More recently, that what has been popping up is the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, or the RGGI. This is a market-based emissions program throughout many areas of the U.S. There's actually 9 states that have signed off onto this program, including Connecticut, Delaware, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New York, Rhode Island, and Vermont. Now, here in Pennsylvania, Governor Wolf had wanted the PA legislature to ratify a deal to join the RGGI, but that failed. So back in October, actually on October 3rd, he actually put forth an executive order directing the DEP to begin a proposed rulemaking that would make Pennsylvania part of the RGGI. Now, there's some speculation that that might be challenged, whether or not he really had the authority to do that. But in the meantime, this is something, again, that is being worked towards. Now, the RGGI is a little bit different from most cap and trade programs. And this is one of the things that a lot of the states like about it, is that it's the first anywhere to use what's called a cap and invest model. And what that means is that the revenues that are gained through the program are actually invested, and the majority of the revenue ends up being used for energy efficiency projects and renewable energy investments. So it reinvests that money. So it gives, it's more popular. It has a more of a substantial goal as far as what's going on with that program. And again, like other programs, it's aimed at reducing carbon emissions from power plants under the Clean Air Act. Again, it's market-based carbon reduction programs. And it is gaining a lot of momentum, as we've seen through the other states that have already joined on to this. So this is a program that very well could show up here in Pennsylvania. As I said, Governor Wolf made the executive order. It's still in the works. But again, this is something that could definitely impact the industry and, of course, just the questions that you may get from your customers. Other legislation that is also popping up in Pennsylvania is the Regional Transportation and Climate Initiative. Now, again, this is not focused at Oilheat. It's actually focused on gasoline and diesel use for transportation purposes. And again, just like the RGGI, the future of the plan in Pennsylvania is a little bit unclear, but what's really important to understand about both of these is that while they're not targeting heating oil, as I said, it does set the stage for other possible actions in the future. So there's a lot of different programs that are out there that do put a challenge to our businesses. A couple other ones very quickly. The Environmental Quality Board cap and trade petition. This came from environmental groups. Again, it's asking for a cap and trade program and targeting all major sources of greenhouse gas emissions in Pennsylvania. So again, a lot of these different programs to be aware of. If we go back a little further, there's a PA greenhouse gas emissions reduction policies. And again, I'm not going to go into great details on these. It's just important to understand that there are a lot of these programs that are out there that, again, are all related to electrification, reducing greenhouse gases, looking to become net zero emissions. All these programs are just designed that are telling people that, hey, you know what, you have to get off fossil fuels, you have to go to electrification, and it's really important that we work towards that. Again, what we know is that that is only part of the truth, okay, that there's a lot more to it than that, and of course that's what we have to talk about. Again, PA Department of Community and Economic Development, financing for clean energy alternatives, funding Pennsylvania solar, future plans. So again, a lot of these plans are out there, and we've not just seen them in Pennsylvania, but we've seen these popping up throughout the oil heat industry in all the different heating oil states. And what's really important, of course, is that we take a look at these and we understand the importance of these. And as I said earlier, this is not the boy who cried wolf. These are programs that are here, they're here to stay, and they're gaining momentum, and we really have to look at these challenges and talk about how to overcome them. This was a topic that came up 2 months ago at the Nephi Heat Show. In fact, there was an energy summit that was held there. There were over 300 people in attendance. It was wonderful. In fact, the ballroom that it was in was not even large enough to hold everybody. They had to have people go into overflow rooms, and they piped in the audio and video. But there was a lot of energy about this and a lot of discussion about these challenges and how to approach these. So at the summit, what was talked about was the situation, the solution, and the strategy, this industry rehabilitation process, if you would. And so it was looked at and it was introduced, as I said, at the Heat Show, and really important that we understand the importance of this. So the situation, of course, is the current history of the health status of the industry. As I've been already saying, we looked at some of these here in Pennsylvania. There are state and federal policies aimed at phasing out carbon-based fuels. All right. We know that we face market consolidation and aging population, pressures from natural gas, and the electrification, which is impeding our success. So what is the solution? Well, we have the solution, which is the good news, which is a low-carbon renewable liquid fuels, or biodiesel. We already have that available. In fact, there are while there's no mandate here in Pennsylvania, there are many dealers who are already selling bioheat, okay? And this is the future and where we need to go as an industry to help make sure we have that future. So the strategy is about delivering that message, okay? Establishing a coordinated effort to engage the entire supply chain to agree to both the stated situation, the solutions, and the solutions are accurate, and that they will necessitate attention today. So at the summit, again, this was a point of discussion, and the discussion went on for a while. We then broke up into subgroups that discussed particular aspects of each one. People then came back together and gave reports. At the end of all this, and what it's building to, is that there was a resolution. I'm sure most of you have probably already heard about this. But a resolution was passed at the heat show on September 16th. The resolution called for a 15% reduction in CO2 emissions by 2023, a 40% reduction by 2030, and net zero carbon emissions by 2050. So the resolution was put forth, and it was passed unanimously. Over 300 people voted. There was not a single negative vote, and it's gained momentum. In fact, I know there are other states who have already ratified to join this resolution, including several associations here in Pennsylvania already. So it's really gaining momentum, and it's very important, again, as an industry, that we do speak with one voice and we work towards getting that message out there. Now, all of this we're talking about so far is, of course, is from the industry level. And of course, obviously, get involved with the industry, get involved through your associations, support this resolution, and again, help speak with that one voice so that we can make an impact both to your customers, your prospects, the public, the media, and very importantly also, of course, is the lawmakers, the legislatures. So it's very important that we do that, but also besides, of course, what we do from the industry level, we need to take a look at what it is you need and should be doing from a company level. And what that is about is owning being green. So we have to take a look at what is it about your companies, what is it about the industry too that is green besides what we're already talking about, and how do we promote that and how do we show that? So it's about owning those green credentials that you already have. And again, there's going to be many opportunities for pointing out the issues with electrification. And we know that there are plenty of them. But that's a whole nother seminar. In fact, actually, AEC will be doing a seminar on November 25th. It's on the economics and environmental performance of biodiesel versus electric heat pumps. So that's a really good program that you should probably check out as well. Goes into the electrification and again, looking at the different holes in that strategy and why that's really not the right strategy for the country or for anybody really. So more than that, again, we'll let that go. Again, we know that there are issues with electrification, but we want to focus more on your companies and what the positives are that you have to talk about your green credentials. So, and that's what's important is really to show yourself and to show the industry as the true green option that's out there. And you have to be able to do that by walking the walk. You can't just be lip service. You can't, as I say, talk the talk. You have to walk the walk and own the green credentials with green marketing. So how do we do that? What is it? What are those green options and what makes you green? Well, green marketing, again, it's all about your company. It's what things that you're already doing that make you authentic, that show that you do care about the environment, that you are the green option. Now, when you look at and we talk about what your green footprint is and how you impact that, is it's important to be true. Okay, you can't, as we said, we can't just talk the talk. If you put things out there that are not true, that you're not actually doing, it's referred to as greenwashing. And if you get caught doing that, just like with any other misinformation that that people put out there, it hurts your reputation and you're going to suffer. And not only are you going to suffer as a company, but the industry will suffer as well. So we have to go forth and put through positive information that makes sense and is true to ourselves. And that's one of the key things when we're talking about green marketing is it has to fit, it has to make sense, and you have to tie it to your brand. So owning being green. So before we talk about your particular companies in our industry, I want to take a quick look at some other examples. I'm going to take a look at a couple of other industries, a couple other companies in different industries, rather, that you don't normally think of as being green, but how they tell their green story, just to give you a few ideas on what we're talking about. So the first example I have here is Starbucks. Now, other than their logo, what about Starbucks is green? You don't think of coffee as being green. I know there's green tea, but I've never seen green coffee. So Starbucks puts a narrative out there. They talk about their commitment to recycling and climate change. They talk about their goal, okay? The fact that they have a goal to double the recycled content, recyclability and compostability and reusability of their cups and packaging by 2022. They advertise the fact that they have separate bins in their stores, okay, for recyclable trash versus non-recyclable. They put their goal right on their cups, and they talk about their dedication to climate change, that they work with to work on reducing their environmental footprint. They work with the coffee growers on sustainable farming techniques, all in an effort to, again, to stay climate neutral, to show that they are green and that they care about the environment and the future of the planet and being green. So again, they have sections on their site for using greener power, greener cups and packaging, and as we said, the climate change. So again, they talk about the things that they're doing to make a positive impact. And those are the types of things that we need to do. Another example is Ben & Jerry's, okay? Ice cream, what's green about ice cream? If we really want to dig down into it, the problem is ice cream comes from dairy farming, and of course, beef production throughout the world is one of the biggest contributors to methane gas, and we know the problems with methane. But so Ben & Jerry's talks about, again, their mission. They use their website and their blog to talk about issues that they care about, including the environment. The fact that they work with and support groups that are focused on social and environmental justice. So they have statements right on their website about what they're doing, about giving back to the community, working towards environmental justice around the country. They talk about the climate change and what they're doing, social environmental assessment reports on the company, et cetera. The other thing that they also do is they put that information out there and talking about the things that they're doing to stay green and be environmentally conscious. Next example is IKEA. Okay, now IKEA, again, most of what IKEA puts out there is made from wood. So again, they're cutting down trees, they're producing furniture. What are they doing to be more environmentally conscious? Well, again, they talk about many different aspects, again, on their website, talking about a sustainable future, that they're people and planet focused. They talk about what they're doing for more sustainable farming and regenerating resources while growing their business. So they talk about these things and they put it forth and say, hey, we have a plan in place. Here are the things that we do to help with the environment and help minimize our impact. The other thing that they have on their website is they also have a section that says, they call it IKEA at a glance, but very important information that is there is they talk about their 441 wind turbines and over 900,000 solar panels that they use to generate power to run their stores. So again, they're all talking about the positive things that they're doing to offset any negatives that the public may have, thinking about, hey, how can IKEA be green? Well, they show how they do it. They also talk about transitioning to all LED and low energy fixtures in their buildings as well. Next example, again, we take a look at transportation, municipalities. I'm sure many of us have seen these types of vehicles on the road. Buses, they're talking about being clean air vehicles, being powered by natural gas. And again, I'm not going to talk about natural gas per se, but again, it's about showing that your vehicles are being used with what's considered a cleaner, or which they consider a cleaner choice than standard petroleum. Now, of course, on the other side, we have the biodiesel vehicles being run on biodiesel. We see these around as well, which are wonderful. A couple of examples here. This is out of Nebraska, soybean powered. You have one out of USC San Diego that they call the Green Line. Even in England, they have the BioBus. So again, the importance of this is just to promote the fact that the vehicles are being powered by biodiesel, that it's a more environmentally friendly choice that reduces greenhouse gases and shows a commitment to the environment. So these are the types of things that we need to look at and types of things that we need to emulate. and follow those examples. So, of course, we're going to talk about promoting the benefits of bioheat, renewable liquid fuels, and again, positioning your company as green alternatives. So let's take that and look at, okay, what are the things that we can talk about, you know, in our industry, you as individual companies, the things that you're doing to impact and make that positive impact and own those green credentials. So, of course, at the top of the list is, of course, as we talked about already, is bioheat. All right, again, many of you are already delivering bioheat, okay? And again, if you're not, it's something that you should consider. Again, this is the path to true net zero emissions. Bioheat is renewable liquid heating fuel. We know this, reduces carbon emissions. And as I've said already, it is really the only true fuel with a realistic path to net zero carbon emissions. It comes from many different sources, including recycling waste oils. So again, it takes waste products, turns it into a positive. And we also know that this is a fuel that is available now. It's being already used in heating systems today with no modifications necessary. It is available at little or no extra cost to the consumers, and we have the distribution system in place. The same distribution system we've been using for years, which is, of course, your fuel delivery vehicles. So important to understand that, you know, this is the heart and soul. This is what the resolution is talking to about increasing bioheat blends and building that path to net zero carbon emissions. So what else do we have? Well, again, things to consider, okay? You know, are you using biodiesel fueled fleets? Now, again, we're not saying that you have to go out and replace all your vehicles and make them all biodiesel fueled, but as you're growing your fleet or as you're replacing vehicles, that is something to take into consideration, okay? And of course, you don't have to have an entire fleet to talk about a positive story. If you add a biofuel vehicle to your fleet, whether it be a service vehicle, delivery vehicle, again, this is something to talk about and to promote and say, hey, we're going green. We've just added this vehicle to our fleet. Here are the benefits. Here we're doing for our community and for the environment. Many of you already have recycling or environmentally friendly handling procedures for waste products. Dirty filters, waste oil, equipment that you're pulling out of homes. And again, if you don't, again, make sure that you create one and you put that into place. And again, handling and being environmentally conscious is the key to all this. Many companies already offer paperless invoicing and paperless enrollments in their different products and services, you know, service plans, price protection, et cetera. And, you know, we always talk about this, you know, benefits to the company is, of course, it reduces the amount of paper, reduces time, reduces postage expenses, et cetera, and it's convenience to the customers. But now we can turn around and also look at this as, again, it's the green alternative because, again, you're using less paper, less mail going through the USPS means they're using less fuel to take it around. So a lot of positive benefits that we can show when we offer these types of services. Other things, again, hopefully many of you are doing this. I know a lot of offices I've been in, I've seen that they have recycling bins. If you don't, add recycling bins, but also consider compost bins as well. Take a pledge to use not to use any paper or plastic in your kitchens or break rooms, or if you are, make sure they're being generated through recycled products only. Your office paper, okay, use recycled stock. So, you know, next time you need to reorder copy paper, you're calling WB Mason, you're going to Staples, again, choose recycled paper, okay, and make that commitment. Again, that's something else that you can talk about. And just as we saw, as the one example with Ben & Jerry's, again, participate with charities and communities, especially those that are targeting and making an impact on the environment. So all these things come together to build a green credential and that green story and show that, you know, we're not just talking the talk, but we do the things that are right to help make positive impacts. So again, it's about building that culture in your company. So other things, of course, that you want to take a look at that you're doing from the company level is, again, is your own offices and buildings. So are they green? You know, we talk to our customer bases all the time about upgrading their equipment, going to higher efficiency equipment, which then, of course, lowers their heating use, their fuel use, reduces their greenhouse gas footprint, et cetera. But have you done that in your own businesses and your own offices? Okay. So again, walk that walk. Upgrade to high efficiency heating equipment in your own buildings. Make sure you're adding insulation around windows, walls, basements, attics, using the smart thermostats. Most companies today have uniforms. If you laundry those uniforms in-house, or you have a service, again, choose a service or choose a biodegradable laundry detergent or service that uses that. Again, little things, but they add up. Again, have you converted to all energy efficient light bulbs? Okay, most of us have, but there's still some out there who haven't. So these are just things, and just saying, again, being able to promote it and use each one of these pieces of information to build those green credentials, be able to talk about it, shows, again, it builds that bigger picture in that, we don't just have a product that is green, but we also live a green life and run our businesses in a green manner. One of the other things, of course, to also keep in mind is that, you're already helping your customers to be green. We've been doing this for years, but again, many of you haven't promoted it as such, or at least you've promoted it in other ways. So again, we talk to our customers all the time about having their systems tuned up properly. Benefits the tune-ups, again, is maintaining efficiencies. Maintaining efficiencies reduces the amount of fuel being used, reduces the emissions. Okay, we talk to them about saving fuel, saving money, but again, make sure that we're telling the other part of that story is the fact that it helps reduce the greenhouse gas footprint for them, just as well as the conservation advice we offer, home energy audits, and the equipment upgrades, as we already talked about. So again, it all comes together. When we look at all this, it's all about overcoming misconceptions, okay? And the fact that we really do need to target our customers, the public, the media, and legislators. The fact that it's not just about, as I said, the product, but it's about you believing in being green and overcoming those misconceptions about our fuel in the industry, so it sets us in that positive light. So how do you do that? What is the key to this, and how do we get that word out there? Well, it's very simple. We utilize the tools that we already have, and most of you, I'm sure, have utilized these already. But it all starts with simply making a commitment to being green. Make that a mission statement, okay? And promote that. So right on your website, do it under an About Us page, or right on your home screen is put up your green pledge. So sit down, if you don't have one already, figure out what all the things that you've done that you offer in your products and services, and the actions that you take as a business that make you a green company and add to those green credentials, and then promote it. Put that pledge up there on the website, okay? Make sure it's out there. If you've taken certain actions, put that in your blog, that you've upgraded your equipment, you've done the installation, you've put in the new windows. Talk about all the steps that you've taken to be green and add to those credentials, and of course to that overall narrative that we want to put out there, that again, we are a green industry. We are overcoming those misconceptions and making sure people understand that very clearly. So again, we have to figure out what it is about each of us as a company that are green, put that plan together, promote it, and then of course not just put it on the website, but again, spread the word. Spread the word using multiple media tactics and venues. So again, create your message, okay? Figure out what that's going to be, put it all together, and then promote it through blogs, your websites, email blasts, newsletters, etc., social media. All these tools become very useful in spreading that word. Now, the good news about this is we're not talking about having to come up with a different message for each one of these venues. In fact, just the opposite. What it is you come up with your narrative, you come up with that, and then you target that and you reuse that, and you might have to make some minor adjustments to it, but you're able to reuse it and repurpose that message or those materials throughout the different venues that are available to you. So just as some examples, okay, you create a blog. That blog, of course, becomes a web page on your site. You can then promote that page as an e-blast. Okay, you can then also include that information in your newsletters. You turn your newsletters into a flyer. You turn that information into a post on social media. If you're using billing inserts, okay, you mail the billing inserts, you use them as handouts. So again, it's about repurposing content, not recreating the wheel each time, but simply modifying it and adapting it to the venue or that media tactic that you're going to send that information out to. So just a couple examples of this. So for instance, another source of information besides, of course, what you're doing in your own company is also information that's available to you through other sources, okay? A great source can be the different associations. So many associations have, put out news information and important information that's going on in the industry, much of which is also would be very good to pass on to the consumers. So you can take that information that the association has put out and you put that on your website under your news, your latest news section, or a similar section, in your newsletters and on your websites, etc. Advertising, people, ads that are running in a newspaper print, you can take those and turn those into blogs on your website. Okay, so again, it's about just repurposing information, your own information and information that's available to you through the industry as a whole. Billing inserts, as we said, a lot of different billing inserts that are out there. Again, some companies don't send them anymore. They're doing tickets right from the truck, but you're still doing, leave behind or leave behind delivery tickets and so forth. So use those as leave behind. Again, repurposing, again, not reinventing the wheel, but using the information that's available. Another great source of information that is available are infographics. These are especially helpful. These can take complex information and boil it down into very easy to understand and information that flows very easily to get the point across quickly and easily. This is a very effective way of especially catching the limited attention spans of legislators and the media. They're looking for quick, concise information. They don't always have a lot of time, so you have to make your point quickly. So through AEC, some of the other associations, there are a lot of different infographics that are available out there for you to use and utilize within your business. And again, to use those to communicate with your customers, with the media, with legislators, et cetera. Now, again, you can take that information, again, not just send them out as they are, but again, we can repurpose them. So the infographics can become an email blast. All right, so again, all about repurposing information and not just sending it out one time or through one media, but spreading that out through multiple medias and multiple tactics to make sure that the information is being received and being understood. Another source of great information and things that you should definitely be talking about are different association programs. For instance, again, right here in Pennsylvania, you have the Upgrade and Save Pennsylvania Rebate Program. Excellent program. I know many of you participate in it, but again, it's something that you should be promoting. And one of the nice things is if you are participating already, again, you can simply log on to the Upgrade and Save Pennsylvania website. You can go in there under Forms and Marketing. There are materials already in there, okay, that you can use in your marketing. So there's free marketing tools. There's banners, there's different write-ups, there's forms, there's letters that are all available to use within your marketing program. And again, use those to get that message out there. Again, you can use that information, create information that you can put into a newsletter, okay? And again, that newsletter can become a blog. There's multiple ways of using it. You can also do it as an email blast. So many different ways of getting that information out there, but utilize all the tools that you have. Again, the Upgrade and Save program, as you all know, it's geared towards increasing efficiency. Increasing efficiency lowers fuel usage and fuel costs, and lowers your greenhouse gas footprint. So again, all positive things that are part of our green story. For those of you that utilize billboards, outdoor advertising, whether that's on the side of a bus, a bench, the bus little huts in different areas, or whether it's an outdoor billboard, these are all great ways of marketing. But you can expand the use of those. Okay, take a picture of those and promote them on social media. So again, we're not talking about recreating them. We're just talking about repurposing your marketing tools, many of which you're already doing, and just utilizing all the media that's available to get that message out to a larger audience, okay, about spreading that word. And that's the key to all of this. It's just about coming up with the narrative of what it is that makes you green, what makes us green as an industry, what makes you green as a company, and making sure that we're telling that story. Again, the bottom line is just that we have to get that out there. So hopefully you've seen that, again, spreading that word is really not difficult to do. There's a lot of content out there. We already talked about it. You have content as a company, you have content from the industry, through your associations, and there's even more available, content that's available to you as well. A couple more content that you can get. Another great example, Oilheat America, great source of information. It's a NOAA-based website, so it's all positive information about oil heat. Bioheat tells a great story. AEC also has a great wealth of information that is available that you can use and is also available to repurpose in your own marketing, as well as, again, spreading that word using the different marketing tools that you have available. Also from AEC, something to consider is that they do have a fall radio spots that are available. There are 2 spots that talk about bioheat and one that is on electrification. There actually is a third. It's actually on bioheat as well, but it is NORA friendly. So if your association wants to use NORA dollars for it, there's a version of this available. These are just quick 15-second spots that help talk about these issues and put them in positive lights and make people think. I'm going to go ahead and play these for you quickly. You should be able to hear this. We'll give it a shot.
Oilheat is now Bioheat, a safe and reliable heating fuel blended with renewable biofuels, which lower greenhouse gases. We care about our environment and are working to achieve net zero carbon emissions without the hassle of expensive conversions. Visit greenheatnow.com.
And then electrification.
Electrification doesn't sound good, does it? When people talk about electric heat, they're talking about expensive heating systems that can't handle our cold winters. There's a better choice, Bioheat. Learn more at greenheatnow.com.
So again, these are very direct, very simple 15-second spots that get people to grabs their attention and talks about the issues that are important to us as an industry and what they should be considering. Of course, in addition,
Oilheat is now Bioheat, a safe and reliable heating fuel blended with renewable biofuels, which lower greenhouse gases.
A little technical difficulty there. Sorry about that. AEC also has a lot more information that's available, a lot more marketing materials that, of course, are available to you. You can just go on the AEC website. There's information under their About Us page, and, of course, also in their store. So, again, a wealth of information that's available to you, both from your own resources, from your associations, and from the industry as a whole, to be able to generate that information, to generate a message and put that forth that, to the public, to the media, to the legislatures. Overcome the misconceptions, let people know that we are green, we have the solutions that are available, and we care about the environment. And that's what it's really all about. And that's what this whole program was about today, was talking about what is important and how to overcome those misconceptions. We know that there are plenty of issues with electrification. That is a given. Again, if you do want more information on that, as I said, I know AEC is doing a program on the 25th of this month. You can go ahead and sign up for that one as well. Again, talk about the fact that, again, renewable liquid fuels are part of the solution. In fact, as we said earlier, we're really the only ones with a true path to net zero emissions through renewable liquid fuels. Again, become that resource, that sounding board for your legislators and the media, and position yourself as being green. Again, and spread that message. It's extremely important to make sure that we're not keeping this a secret. We have been a green industry for years. People never understood that about us, that we do all the things that we talked about that help reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Again, we're one of the only industries over the years that have worked to reduce our carbon footprints by putting out more and more efficient equipment, by going to low sulfur and ultra low sulfur fuels, to adding bio into our fuel and offering bioheat to our customers. So we have the solution. We have the products, the services that are truly green. We've been doing the tune-ups. We've been giving conservation advice for decades. Now it's time to make sure people understand that and overcome those misconceptions. So again, talk about all the things that you do that are green, communicate that message through the different venues that you have available to you. Talk about it on your website, your social media, your digital marketing, newsletters, billing inserts, custom letters, etc. Any way that you can just get that message out to the public, to your customers, make sure that you're utilizing it, telling that story in a positive manner, showing that we're green and that we do care about the environment. That's what the secret to all this is. It's very simple. A lot of miscommunication, a lot of misconceptions that have been out there over the years. We have a lot of stories in the media that paint us in as the opposite of being green, and they talk about all the different alternatives, especially electrification. We need to talk, as I said earlier, we need to speak with one voice as an industry and support that by also speaking about our companies and putting it in that positive green light as well. That's today's presentation. Any questions?
Thank you, Dave. We do not have any questions at the moment. I will give it a couple seconds here to see if any comes in. But in the meantime, we certainly appreciate your participation in our monthly webinar series.
Our pleasure. We welcome the opportunity, and of course, if anyone does have any questions later, of course, as I'm sure you can contact Ted, or contact me directly. More than happy to speak to you about your green message and ways of getting that message out there. If you have any questions in general about what's going on in the industry, the resolution that was passed up at Nephi, again, happy to talk to you about that as well.
Excellent. Okay, we did not have anything come in here, so Dave's information is on the screen. Again, you can contact me as well. But thank you everyone for your time, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.